Hi girls, welcome back to Glam Me Up. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do your own manicure at home. You can save a lot of money by doing it this way, and it's very easy and it doesn't take too much time at all. I'm not going to be showing my face or anything in this video because this is all about the nails. Don't really need to, but I've already done this hand and you can see the difference that it makes. My nails are much shinier and they look healthy. You can check out the before and after pictures right here. I'll go ahead and show them. You can just see how the ridges are gone and there's no more like white spots from where my nails got peeled off or anything, so you can tell it really makes a huge difference. You can save yourself a lot of money by doing it this way because normally a manicure costs anywhere from $10 to $20, sometimes even $30 just for a basic manicure. So it's really cool if you can do it at home and it doesn't take too much and the tools aren't very expensive. So I do this every time before I paint my nails because you want your nail polish to have a clean base to go onto. You don't want it to be nasty underneath and you want it to be smooth and everything, and it's going to make it last a lot longer. So I'm going to be sharing some tips with you guys on how to make your nail polish last longer. There's several things you can do and I'll be going through them throughout the video of little ways that you can make your nail polish stay on longer, because if you have a smooth, clean base, it's going to go on a lot better and stay on a lot longer. I'm also planning on doing a video on how to properly polish your nails, like how to paint them the right way professionally and everything. So that will be coming up after this. I probably won't film it the same day, but I will do it another day and then I'll have the follow-up video with that so you can see how to paint your nails to make them look professionally. That way we can all kind of save money and still have nice looking nails. So I hope you guys enjoyed this DIY video, and if you want to see how I get a perfect at-home manicure, then just keep watching. The tools that you're going to need is nail clippers, any type of cuticle tools, a cuticle pusher and a cuticle shaver, cuticle clippers, and then a nail file, and any type of buffer block. Make sure it has at least 3 sides on it, and then some cuticle oil or cuticle cream, and then any type of hand cream that you like. So I'm going to first start off by cutting them down. You can cut them down to whatever length that you want. I don't really want mine to be too short, but I don't want them to be too long, so I think I might just leave mine the way that they are. This one is a little bit shorter and that one is, but that's okay. I mean, it'll look fine once I paint them. So you just want to make sure that they're all even. Might cut down my thumb just a little bit. It's a little bit too long. Just a tiny bit. I like to cut them first, then I can kind of get the shape that I want and then buff them to buff out any of the harsh ridges. As you can see, there's not much wrong with my nails other than there is some ridges just from the new growth and stuff, a few ridges. But the hair, skin, and nails vitamins definitely work for that. And then I've got some peeling of the nails, which you can see the most of. That is from where I peeled off glitter polish, which I do not recommend doing because I basically peeled off some of the top layer of my nail where it was stuck on good. So I wouldn't recommend doing that at all because it will make your nail a little bit thinner. But if you can see in the light, I've kind of got some ridges and stuff, and my cuticles need a little bit of maintenance. But my nails typically stay about like this. This is probably the worst that they get because I do groom them about once a week. So I don't file them. I mean, I don't buff them once a week just because I think it's a little bit too much, but every other week I'll smooth out the ridges and stuff. So after I cut them, I like to go in and file them. And you can do any shape that you want for this. I don't know how you guys are going to be able to see this. I guess I could do it like this. Is that going to work? Yeah. So you just file the top straight, and you want to make sure you don't use a file that is too rough. You want to make sure that it's only for real nails. So you file it straight across like that. And then to round the edges, I'm going to angle it like this and get the sides of the nail and then start to go around the edges. I kind of like a squoval shape, which is where it's straight across the top, but then the edges are rounded. So I'm just going to kind of round the edges. You can kind of tell what looks best on your nails. Some people look better with a more round tip, some look better with a straight. You can turn it around because this side's a little bit more harsh, a little bit more grit. And then see, I'm just holding it sideways to get the side. You definitely want to make sure you file the sides, because if you don't, if they get any nicks, that's how your nails are going to break if the sides aren't, if if the sides aren't filed, they're going to break more because you're going to have little nicks in the side, and that's just going to make it break. So I think keeping them filed and maintained and hydrated is the key to not letting your nails break and growing them long. Because I definitely notice if I don't keep my nails up, if I don't have time to do a manicure, then they definitely break more and it's hard to grow them out. If you don't want to take off too much of your nail, I would recommend skipping cutting them and just go right into filing them. It's still going to make it get shorter, but it's not going to take off too much if you're worried about taking off too much from cutting them. And a good way to make sure that it's straight is set your file down on the table, that way you know it's straight, and just file it straight across like that. If you don't have time to do anything else with your nails, at least file them. It's going to make the world of a difference. Some say that going back and forth in a sawing motion is bad for your nails and it can make them break. I personally don't have a problem with that, and mine are not the hardest, but they're not super thin because I do take the hair, skin, and nails vitamins, so they're definitely a lot thicker than they used to be. But even when they were really thin, it never made them break or anything. I guess it depends on how bad off your nails are, but I think it's fine. I've never really seen any chipping or breaking or anything from doing that. But of course, if you see your nails split when you're filing, then only file in one direction like that. Okay, so now that I'm done with filing and I've got pretty much the shape that I want, and they're all about even, then I'm going to go in with my cuticle pusher, which is just like this. You can use any type of tool or anything with just a straight edge. I like this one because it's sturdy, because it's metal, and it's kind of curved a little bit, so it can really scrape off some of that skin. Now, I would recommend soaking your nails before doing this, just to soften up your cuticles if your cuticles are really bad, like soaking them in a bowl of hot water, maybe a little bit of soap or something, and that's going to soften them up and make it easier to scrape off your cuticles. But mine aren't that bad, so I don't need to do that really, but it definitely makes a huge difference. It makes it so much easier to work with when they're soaked, because it's softened up and you can really remove them nicely or easily. So I'm just going around and pushing them back a little bit. I definitely recommend doing this. It's going to make your nail look longer, and it's going to allow you to get the polish on. If your cuticle is grown up or it's crusty around it, you're not going to be able to get your nail polish on good, and it's going to get all over the place and it's not going to stick. It's going to make your nail polish peel up much easier, because you need your nail polish to go onto a smooth base without anything on it, so you want to make sure there's no skin or dust or anything on your nail. And if this is painful for you, just do it really lightly, and eventually you'll get used to it. The more you groom your cuticles, the less it will hurt when you do it. But I don't think it hurts at all. But some people think that it's a little bit painful to be pushing on that sensitive skin. Okay, now that I've got them pushed down, I'm going to take some cuticle oil like this. Or you could use a cuticle butter. This is my all-time favorite cuticle butter. And it's just a nice like cuticle salve. So you could put that on your nails, like rub it in around the cuticles. If your cuticles are worse off and you need to scrape off a lot, I would definitely recommend using an oil like this. And this is very liquidy, so it's going to help your nails a lot, and it's going to help you be able to scrape off that excess skin. Okay, so now I'm taking a tool like this, and this has got some grit at the bottom, like a nail file, so it's going to help to push them back and to scrape off any excess skin. So you want to go around your nails and do this, or you could just take your real nail and just scrape it off like that, but definitely make sure that you soak your nails first. It's going to make this process so much easier. You can also use a tool like this. This is kind of a strange tool. It came in a nail kit that I got once, but it's got kind of like a little razor, and it's shaped like a V, so it's going to shave off any of the skin on your nail, but you have to be very careful with this. It can be painful if you do it wrong, and you want to only go with the nail. You don't want to go backwards. You want to only go backwards, or else it's going to really nick the skin bad. So if you have any skin on your nail that's being stubborn and it won't come off, then this is good for that, but you don't want to use it on your actual skin. You want to only use it on the nail, and it will just scrape off the skin on the nail. Now, I do not recommend cutting your cuticles at all. It's really bad for them, and it is just not good at all. You can make them bleed, and your cuticles are there to protect your nail, so you don't want to cut them off. If they're really long and they're up on your nail, the best thing to do is apply the cuticle oil and then take the cuticle pusher like this, or you could use this end of that, and push them back to where they're sticking up, and then take cuticle scissors like this, and you can just trim just trim them up this way. You don't want to point it down with the point and nick it or anything. You just want to trim off any of the excess, but don't cut them all the way off. If it bleeds, then you've went too deep. You don't want it to bleed at all. So this is only good for if you have them really long. But I'm going to use this to just trim any of the hangnails that are sticking up, like any skin that's sticking up on the sides. But you want to be very careful with these because they are sharp and they can go too deep. And if you get a lot of these hangnails on the side where your skin is sticking up, then your hands are too dry, so you want to make sure that you use the cuticle oil all the time. Whenever you're thinking about it, just put it on to really keep them hydrated, and then you also want to trim off the skin. But do not pull it down because that's going to make it bleed, and it can get infected and nasty. So just keep it maintained by trimming it, and eventually they should get better. And if you trim it off, then it's not going to get any worse. It's going to prevent it from peeling back any further. You can also trim off any skin that's like really tough, maybe if you have a callus or something, but I wouldn't trim it off too much. Just really, you could buff it or hydrate it a lot just to keep it from getting too hard, but you don't want to trim it off too much because that can just make it worse. So now that we've trimmed all of our cuticles and pushed them back and everything, now we can buff. And you want to make sure you buff them after you do this because then you can buff off any skin that's left over. And we've got a little bit of the cuticle salve still on it, so it's going to work good when we buff it. I started using the buffer block, but I wasn't too crazy about it, so I decided to switch to the other one that I used to use. I just got this new one, and it's got 4 sides. One of them is actually a nail file, and then the other one are the 2 buffing ones, but I felt like the one with the hardest grit that's supposed to take off the surface of your nail, I felt like it wasn't working well enough, so I went ahead and switched to the old one that I used to use. So you want to first start off with the side that looks like it's the roughest, and this is just going to remove that shiny top part of your nail. It's going to remove any of the ridges, and then also where I kind of peeled off some of the nail when I peeled off my nail polish. So that's just going to smooth everything out. It might look like you're taking off a lot of nail because there's a lot of dust, but you're actually not. It's not going to make your nail thin or anything because this file is made for natural nails. You do not want to use a buffer block that's made for artificial nails, only this one, because it's not going to take off too much of your nails. So you can see in the end it definitely looks like it's smoother. It doesn't have any shine yet, but we're going to add that back in. But you can just tell that the top surface, that was all rough. And also it removes cuticles and stuff, so all that's fine. So now I'm going to go on to the buffing part, which is going to add the shine back to the nail. I'm actually going to go back to the other block that I was using because it is newer, and I do like the other sides of this block. So this is just going to, it's kind of like a rubber material on the buffer block, so it actually buffs shine back into your nail. But you want to make sure that the surface of the nail is clean first, and you get rid of all the ridges and stuff, so that's why you do the more rough side first, and then you go on to the more rubbery one to kind of add that shine back to your nail. And then there's also a third side which makes it even shinier. So I'm going to be using all of these, but I'm just going to go ahead and speed it up so you don't have to watch through all of it. So now I'm going to go on to the other side of the block, which is the last side, and this is the really rubbery side. It's going to make it extra shiny, and it's going to almost look like you have a clear coat on your nails. As you can see, all my nails look really shiny and they look really smooth and much better. I think using this whole buffer block is really nice because it also removes any yellowing on your nails. It's not going to totally make them white, but it definitely gets off a lot of that discoloration from wearing polish and stuff. So then here I'm just going around and kind of removing some of the excess dust around the side of my nail. You want to make sure you do this because even when you go to wash your hands, you still might have some of that dust down in the cracks and stuff, so you want to just go around and get some of that off. And then you can also scrape off any extra cuticles, because when you paint your nails, you want to make sure that you have nothing on your nail, no dust from filing or anything like that, or oil or anything. So now that we're done with the nails, they should be really shiny and smooth, and we're just going to take some of our Burt's Bees hand cream, and you want to make sure your hands stay really moisturized and stuff, because that's what's going to make your nails not be brittle and break, and then it's also going to keep your cuticles from peeling and stuff. So make sure you keep your hands moisturized. This is a really nice thick hand cream. It's got like almond milk in it and stuff. It's very thick, so I recommend putting this on like before bed or something and letting it soak. But if you put it on during the day, just wipe it off like the bottoms of your palms so it doesn't get anything greasy. Another thing I forgot to show you guys that you can do is take an end like this or just anything pointed and go underneath and clean them out, because you don't want to have dirty nails or anything. And it also is going to help shape the skin underneath your nails. As you can see, this one wasn't very big and it looked kind of weird. Well, now it looks straight. So this is what it looks like when they're finished. You can see how it's much shinier than it was before. All the ridges are gone and all of those like places where it was peeling are gone. If you're going to be painting your nails, you'd want to make sure to wash your hands, because you don't want to have any oil or anything that's going to make the nail polish not stick. Also, if you were going to be polishing them, you would want to make sure to not do that last step with the shine, because I think it makes it too slippery for the polish to actually stick and stay on. So I would just do the buffing side and maybe even the second one, or I guess the third one on here. But I wouldn't do the oil afterwards or anything. So you want to make sure you wash your hands before if you're going to be polishing them, and also maybe take even a cotton swab and some nail polish remover, because that will dry out the actual nail bed and go over it to get off any of the grease or oil, because nail polish is not going to stick to it like that. But if you're just going to be leaving it just natural, then it definitely looks really good with the shine and the oil on it and everything. So that is all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this at-home manicure. And if you have any DIY videos of yourself, please leave them in the comments below. And I will also list my other DIY videos. And I also have a post that I did a while back on my blog on how to do your own at-home manicure. And that's got some written steps. So if you want to check that out, I will also link that below. It's probably pretty much the same, but some things might be a little bit different based off of new things that I've learned or new products that I've used and that sort of thing. So if you want to check that out, I'll have the link for that below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.